Well, that experiment can be said to have failed rather spectacularly. I speak, of course, of Amazon Gaming. Amazon lays off 180 employees in its games division. This comes as a follow-on up to another 100 people being laid off back in April. So, yeah, I'm surprised that anyone's actually still working at Amazon Games. And, well, actually, no, I'm not surprised, because what have they actually achieved? Nothing. They've cancelled, what, 3-4 titles? And their only actual released title is, what, New World? Which didn't work out very well either. To be fair, they've licensed a few titles, like Ark has done pretty damn well for them, sure, but they didn't really make that, so they can't actually be given the credit for it either as a success. And what they're focusing in on here is two sources with knowledge of the layoffs told Aftermath that Amazon is eliminating 180 positions in its games division. This includes the entirety of Crown Channel, which is the Twitch channel that they had, which incidentally apparently was completely and utterly artificially inflated with no actual viewership, which makes sense. I mean, if Amazon comes to Twitch and says, hey, let's make a collaborative Twitch channel, Twitch is going to make sure that that's a success. And the game growth team, with a large goal of refocusing efforts around Prime Gaming. Ah, yes indeed. So, Prime Gaming, in case you are unaware, is essentially an arm of Amazon Prime, which Amazon is currently making a very big push to inflate as rapidly as possible, as it is a constantly recurring payment with various benefits, etc. And there are assloads of things that are produced for Prime Gaming, like free skins or in-game avatars, or various nonsensical add-ons to video games you already own. It's popular. In essence, it is a very, very large marketing engine aimed exclusively towards gamers, and well, that might be all that Amazon Games will be now. Another marketing division that focuses in on whatever is, popular at the time, or on mass phone games or whatever, right? And goes like, hey, would you like an Amazon Prime deal? You'll have to get people to move to Twitch and check out our channels, whatever, and obviously you're going to need to be a Prime subscriber, but if you do become a Prime subscriber, look at these cute and fanciful in-game things you can have. Particularly when it comes to the mobile market, that's actually a pretty goddamn clever idea. Because you can go to the companies themselves and say, okay, what's popular in your thing? And they'll go like, overpowered bullshit champions in our mobile games. Okay, says Prime. Make one of those, and let's make them a Prime subscriber exclusive. For the users of the video game, that's like, okay, I pay for a Prime subscription for a month, and maybe I'll stay on for the convenience, right? And I'll get my expensive free shit. That's fantastic for them. As for the mobile developer or the game developer or whatever, they get to be associated with Amazon, one of the biggest companies in the goddamn world, and probably they get a decent little lump sum of change as well, and probably Amazon is going to be helping out producing the assets or whatever else they need, right? It's a win-win situation, and it is pretty goddamn massive scale marketing, the likes of which only Amazon can really commit to. But that does seem like it's all it's gonna be now. As they say here, quote, we've listened to our customers and we know delivering free games every month is what they want the most. you don't say. we asked our customers what they preferred and they said, free shit. I truly am quite shocked by this, I am. So we are refining our Prime benefit to increase our focus there. With these changes in our business approach come changes to our resources, resulting in the elimination of just over 180 roles. So it's just going to be purely a marketing scheme now for Amazon. This is actually, it's a little sad to me, because the idea of Amazon making games, right? That's just quite appealing from a gamer perspective, because you now have an infinite sack of cash with which to make anything, to any quality you want, as massive as you want, as cool as you want, with as fantastic assets as you want. In many ways, New Worlds was a bit of an example of this. See, some old school lore here, right? Before New World turned into what it is today, in the original closed beta, which I was lucky enough to get into, was it the alpha? It was years before the actual release. The game was very, very different. You still had the same general art styles and enemies and, world like that, but everything was much darker. It was more of a, almost like a horror-esque MMO kind of setting, where there were shadows off in the fog. You saw diseased bears prowling through the foggy etherlands. You saw zombified peasants, which were far rarer. It's the only enemy in New World today. And you could also build bases. You could build anywhere you wanted. Player-constructed towns was to be the focus of the game. It was an interesting idea. It was also supposed to be based heavily of Native American folklore, giving it, that Wendigo feel, right? As explorers arriving in a new continent and you have no idea what's over the horizon, but it's gonna be fucking scary. That's all you know. That's cool. Instead, they made the New World, a massively heavily settled continent with a dozen major built-up population centers, with roads, with travel, with trade, where people literally can't die, with abundant food supplies. So the New World has already been conquered a very long time ago. As for the horror aspects, every enemy you fight's a zombie, so I guess that's scary. Damn it. Oh. Never before have I seen worse abuse of an originally good idea. And again, New World has so many mechanics. It's actually frustrating. New World has so many things. It's in many ways, one of the most feature-rich MMOs I've ever seen. It's got fishing, it's got cooking, it's got mining, it's got woodworking, and all of it's based around a bit of a player economy as well. And it's all weirdly satisfying. You can just keep chopping down trees for goddamn hours to grind out some new weapons, some bows, some new pickaxes. It's actually quite fun when you're just engaging with that part of the game, and you can level up whilst doing it. The only problem is that the rest of the video game is absolute arse. The story is non-existent, the PvP is awful and gated to clans for some mysterious reason. God help me. And even the trade system, which is so cool and in-depth and theoretically awesome, is tied to a damn awful monetization system. And we're not even talking monetization as in real money. We're talking an in-game economy that was doomed to failure from the very beginning, as money was so rare and so difficult and limited to get that nobody wanted to spend it on anything. There was no real point in spending it because you'd only could get it from so few sources, or by selling stuff on the auction house. You couldn't actually just buy something and sell it to a vendor or get easy resources, meaning that everyone became self-sufficient. So since everybody could do everything, you would do all of your own mining, you would do all of your own logging, you do all of your own cooking and fishing, etc. Because, you couldn't afford to spend the money. Yet at the same time, there are also money sinks in the game that demanded a continuous money input. So you've got no way of actually getting cash, and only ways to bleed you out of the cash, which meant that nobody wanted to invest in anything. I feel like some lessons could have been learned here, but oh well, details yet again. And this is a shame, because so many of the ideas and so much of the execution, the sound design in particular, is brilliant. They just decided to make it an incredibly bland and uninteresting piece of shit, which is a pretty enormous failure for a company that should have access to essentially infinite resources. Additionally, if this was all they were going to end up with a marketing tool, okay, fine, make a game for a specific subgroup then. Make a niche game and make it very popular, as you've seen with Ark. Ark was not designed for a grand, wider audience. It was designed with a very specific Korean audience in mind, and yet because of that, it achieved tremendous success. If you were going to just turn this into a giant advertisement board anyways, a niche success, a cult success that people talk about, would have served you a hell of a lot better than the mediocre MMO that everyone wants to forget. Oh well, I suppose the death of Amazon Gaming is, at the end of the day, something to be celebrated because it completely failed to fulfill the promise that its, well, only really its enormous bags of cash had. You know, it was probably rather naive to think that simply throwing enough money at the problem would somehow result in something good, but as I continue to say, I am a hopeless optimist. Until next time, I have been Arch, the hopeless optimist, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.